Good morning, everyone. So we are discussing about the micellar enhanced ultrafiltration processes, and in the last class we have given an overview of the micellar enhanced ultrafiltration and introduction of it. And as we know that in any membrane based separation processes there are two aspects. One is how good the separation is, and next one is how effective the separation is in terms of throughput or the total volume of productivity of the system is concerned. Now, in the last class we have seen that the quantity the quality of the product, that means how much solute has been solubilized in the micelles, can be really quantified, and it can be expressed as an solubilization isotherm, in the form of a solubilization isotherm. So, therefore, we propose that we have seen that these isotherms are in the if you plot this isotherm, that means if you plot the amount solubilized per amount of surfactant versus the concentration of solute present in the free form, that will follow a Langmuir type of equation. And we have seen that a Langmuir type of fitting fits very well to the trend. So, therefore, using that isotherm one can quantify the amount of solute that has been solubilized and what is the concentration of the solute is present in the permeate stream or in the free form, unbounded form. Now, in today's class we will look into the other aspect, what is the productivity of the system. That means, we will be trying to quantify the permeate flux and various associated phenomena that will be arising due to the various complications of micellar enhanced ultrafiltration. So, let us look into the permeate flux. The permeate flux, in case of permeate flux, it is assumed that these micelles, they are larger in size, they will be having a size average size in the range of 2 to 10 nanometer. So, they can be separated by an ultrafiltration membrane. These micelles form a gel type layer on the membrane surface. Micelles form a gel type of layer on the membrane surface. Therefore, they will the solutes will be passing through them, and if you remember, since the outer surface of micelles are charged, they will form a network, a gel layer or cake type layer with a charged spheres like micelles. So, therefore, the permeate flux can be predicted using a gel controlled filtration theory. So, permeate flux can be predicted as J steady state. Let us talk about the steady state, K ln Cg by C naught S, and Js is the steady state permeate flux. Number 1, and K is mass transfer coefficient. Cg is gel layer concentration of the surfactant micelle. And C naught S is the concentration of the surfactant as monomer in the feed concentration of surfactants. Now, the gel layer concentration of CPC is typically pure CPC solution. If you have a pure cetyl pyridinium chloride solution, the gel layer concentration is about 366 kg per meter cube. On the other hand, pure SDS solution will be having a gel layer concentration around 210 kg per meter cube. Okay. Now, in presence of counter ions, suppose you would like to now, as we have discussed in the last class, there you can have an ionic pollutants, cationic pollutants or anionic pollutants. Cationic pollutants like metal ions, they will be like lead, heavy metal ions like lead, cadmium, okay, arsenic, then you can have zinc, copper, so on and so forth. All these cations, they if they go beyond a particular limit, they are carcinogenic in nature. You can have anionic pollutants like CN minus cyanide, MnO4 minus manganate, dichromate Cr2O7 2 minus. Okay. Now, if you would like to remove the cationic pollutants like lead, cadmium, etc., then you have to use the surfactants like sodium rhodesyl sulfate, so that the outer surface will be negatively charged. And in case of removal of anionic pollutants, you must be using using cetyl pyridinium chloride. So, therefore, the outer surface will be positively charged. That is the basic fundamentals of any micellar enhanced separation process. Now, whenever these ionic in this you charge the ionic pollutants in the solution, two phenomena will occur simultaneously. Okay. In presence of pollutants, let us say ionic pollutants, we are talking about the inorganic pollutants, not organic pollutants, Zn plus plus, or let us say cadmium plus plus 2 plus, or lead 2 plus, something like this, then two phenomena will occur. Number one is that the CMC of the surfactants will be in the presence of these cations, the CMC of surfactants will be reduced. Why the CMC of the surfactant would reduce? Simply because whenever you will be having a globule or a spherical shaped micelles, if you remember, the outer surface will be the head groups of the surfactants will be facing the solution, and all the head groups will be, let us say, similar charges, right. If you talk about SDS micelle, the sodium will go out in the solution and all the head groups will be negatively charged. Now, when you are placing, when they are arranged themselves in the form of a sphere, these head groups will be placed one after another. So, therefore, they will repel each other, and this repulsion will cause an instability in the micelle formation. Okay. So, the intersurfactant monomer units, there is a strong repulsive force present. But in presence of counter ions like Zn plus plus or cadmium 2 plus, this repulsion will decrease. In presence of cations, repulsion decreases. Now, what is this repulsive force? This repulsive force will be manifested as an instability, source of instability in the formation of the micelles. So, therefore, when this repulsive force will decrease, the micelle formation will be facilitated, right. So, this repulsion, when this repulsion decreases, this leads to a facilitation of micelle formations. So, in other words, what it physically do, in presence of these counter ions or the cations, the critical micellar concentration will decrease, right. Presence of these cations, or in general it is a, let us say, call it counter ion, the CMC of surfactants decreases. What does that mean? If the CMC of the surfactant decreases, more, so at a lower concentration of the feed surfactant, more micelles will be formed, right. More micelles will form at a fixed concentration of feed surfactant. Okay. So, therefore, when more micelles will be formed, there will be more solubilization of the counter ions, right. So, this leads to more solubilization of the counter ions. And finally, this will result into enhanced separation. Enhanced separation, that means enhanced efficiency of the system. Okay. Now, the second phenomena that will occur, that will directly affect the gel layer concentration. The second phenomenon will lead to effect on gel layer concentration. Okay. So, when you will be having an SDS micelle with a negative charges residing over its surface. Now, this let us say Zn plus plus. Okay. So, it will be having a 2 valency. So, either these will be, so this must be attached to the outer surface when it will be attached to 2 negatively charged ions, okay, negatively charged sites. So, that is one aspect. The second aspect, these cations may cause a bridging of the 2 micelles as well. Okay. So, this is one. Second one will be, okay, I will write it in the next slide. The second aspect will be, it can do a bridging effect. This is known as GING, bridging effect between 2 micelles. What is this bridging effect? You have one micelle, you have the another micelle, okay, let us say Zn plus plus. So, it can attach to this micelle, also it can attach to this micelle. So, it can attach to this micelle, it can attach to this micelle. So, this is the second phenomena, and what it means? It means that all this bridging will be lead to formation of the gel layer at an early concentration. Okay. So, this leads to formation of, so when these agglomerates when this bridging effect will be there, this agglomerate will grow in size and the formation of the gel layer over the membrane surface will be facilitated. So, gel layer is facilitated at an early stage. What is the early stage? At an early concentration of the So, quantitatively this effect means what? Quantitatively this effect means that gel layer concentration will decrease, right. That means, gel layer concentration will decrease and more be the number of free counter ions or the cations available in the solution, more prominent this effect will be. So, therefore, gel layer concentration of the surfactant decreases as concentration of the counter ions in the feed solution increases. So, there are two effects when you add the counter ion of multivalent counter ion. Number one, its critical micellar concentration will decrease. Secondly, the onset of the gel layer will occur at an early concentration. That means, its gel layer concentration will decrease. So, C gel will be a function, is a decreasing function of counter ion concentration in the bulk. Therefore, if you plot a flux versus steady state flux versus ln C0 of surfactant in the feed solution, you will be getting a straight line for let us say counter ion is let us say zinc or copper, okay, copper 2 plus is equal to 0, and when you go on increasing the copper solution, the counter ion concentration in the feed, this line will shift towards left. That means, and this is let us say copper is equal to 4 kg per meter cube, that means 4000 ppm, and the shift of the curve occurs in this direction. So, what does that mean? That you will be having, you can extrapolate these lines and they will be corresponding to the gel layer concentration corresponding to each copper concentration, gel layer concentration of the surfactants corresponding to each copper concentration, and we have to conduct these experiments as a constant same mass transfer coefficient, that means at the same starting speed or the cross flow velocity. Now, if you have a pure copper solution, the gel layer concentration will be maximum. If you increase the copper solution in the feed, then gel layer concentration will decrease. If you increase the copper solution, copper concentration further, the gel layer concentration will be lowest. Okay. So, therefore, the gel layer concentration will be having a decreasing trend with respect to the counter ion concentration in the feed. Now, for SDS Cu2 plus system, we conducted experiments for every copper concentration, and we have seen that gel layer concentration is really decreasing with the copper concentration, and they obey almost straight line of relationship over a particular concentration range. Now, if you want, I can give you the expressions. Cg becomes 366 into 1 minus 0.21 concentration of copper for copper concentration less than CCU, copper concentration less than 1 kg per meter cube, that is 1000 ppm, and this becomes 292 minus 3 CU for a copper concentration lying between 1 and 4 kg per meter cube. Okay. So, when copper concentration is 0, you will be getting the maximum gel layer concentration, that is 366. When you increase the copper concentration in this range, it will decrease, gel layer concentration of surfactant will decrease as a linear function with the copper concentration. In place of copper, if you have a calcium as a counter ion, for calcium as counter ion, the gel layer concentration decreases like this, 366 to 1 minus 0.14 CCA is equal to 318 minus 4.37 CCA for calcium concentration. This is for calcium concentration less than 1 kg per meter cube, and this is for calcium concentration lying between 1 and 4 kg per meter cube. Okay. The mass transfer coefficient can be calculated from the equations or the correlations depending upon the laminar and the turbulent flow regime that we have already seen earlier. For the laminar flow regime, the Sherwood number, that is given as KdE by D, is equal to 1.86 Reynolds Schmidt dE by L raised to the power 1 upon 3, and for the turbulent flow it will be calculated as from the Dietz-Bolte relationship 0.023 Reynolds raised to the power 0.8 Schmidt raised to the power 0.3. Okay. So, thus the permeate flux can be predicted in terms of when there is a pure component or pure counter ion is present. Next, we will see the effect of binary mixture on C-gel. That means, if you have a binary mixture of copper and calcium, then what will be its effect on the gel layer concentration. Now, in presence of competitive counter ions, effect of binary mixture on gel layer concentration. Now, it may have the case that you may not be having a single counter ion, you may be having a mixture of counter ions. Now, for example, if you have a mixture of counter ions, for example, copper and calcium, then it will be having a prominent effect on the gel layer concentration. Okay. The reduction of the gel layer is also very important. Reduction of gel layer concentration is a function, is definitely a function of composition of counter ions. Okay. And this can be quantified. In fact, it is measured, and it has been found out that if you have Cu2 plus is to Ca2 plus, and this concentration, I mean I was talking about the concentration of this, if these concentrations are represented in kg per meter cube, then the gel layer concentration can be experimentally found out, and this trend will be obtained 0.5 is to, if you have a ratio of copper and that of calcium in 0.5 and 3, then mixture concentration becomes 311, the gel layer concentration becomes 311, and if you have 1 is to 2.5, then it will be 302. If you have 2 is to 2, then you will be having 298. Then if you have 3 is to 1, then you will be having 291. Have 4 is to 0.5, then you will be having 281. Okay. So, there will be so there is a competitive adsorption of the counter ions on the micelle surface, and based on the composition of the counter ions, the gel layer concentration will change or will vary. Okay. Next, that is very important, there is the presence of these counter ions and the presence of the micelle formation will be having an important effect on the viscosity of the solution. Effects on change in viscosity in presence of counter ions is very important, that the surfactant micelles and presence of counter ions change the viscosity of the solution, and it has been observed that viscosity of the surfactant solution increases in presence of the counter ions. Okay. Now, viscosity increases in presence of counter ions, and if you plot the variation of viscosity, this is in unit of centipoise. Okay. Mu is in unit of centipoise, and let us say this is SDS concentration. Okay. Obviously, with SDS concentration the viscosity will increase. Okay. It starts from 0.8 for 0 SDS concentration, that means for pure water, and the variation of pure SDS viscosity will be in this form. It increases, the viscosity of the pure SDS solution increases with the SDS concentration. This is for pure SDS. Pure SDS means there is no counter ions present in this system. Now, if you have a presence of copper to the tune of 4 kg per meter cube, the variation, the viscosity value will be more compared to without presence of calcium, copper 4 kg per meter cube, copper plus SDS. Okay. Now, if you have calcium, the viscosity will be further higher, and this becomes SDS plus 3 kg per meter cube calcium solution. Now, this is a complex phenomena, and this viscosity variation with concentration needs to be incorporated in the mass transfer coefficient. Viscosity variation becomes pretty important, and this viscosity variation with concentration of counter ions needs to be included, okay, in calculation of mass transfer coefficient. That means, you must be having a Sider-Tate type of relationship to correct the viscosity variation by the change in concentration in the system. Okay. Now, in case of counter ion binding, on micellar surface, can be quantified by something called localized isotherm adsorption model. This quantification can be done by localized adsorption model, and this model was first proposed by Rothman and Scameron. In early 1980s, and it is assumed that and these isotherm can be evaluated to calculate the amount of the counter ion that was present in the free solution. Okay. And the binding ratio of counter ions on micelles is defined by the binding constant beta, and this beta I is defined as K I C I exponential minus z psi over K B T divided by 1 plus K I C I e to the power minus z psi over K B T plus K of N A C of N A e to the power minus z psi over K B T. Now, we are talking about sodium dodecyl micelle, and SDS and counter ions may be, let us say, cations or metal ions. There are 2 metal ions present. So, it is basically Langmuir type of isotherm we are talking about. This Ci is the bulk concentration of the solute. Okay. This is for the ith solute. If you have copper and calcium, this I is for copper in one case, in another case it will be for calcium. Okay. So, Ci is the bulk concentration of solute, okay. Ki is the binding constant of ith component, K N A will be the binding constant of sodium ion, and psi is the zeta potential of the micelle. So, you can measure the zeta potential of the micelle, that can be measured using a zetameter, but in case of sodium dodecyl sulphate, apart from the counter ions and the metal ions, you will be having the sodium ion also present in the solution as a counter ion. So, you have to take care of that as well. Now, for a this is basically a micelle, the expression that we have given is for the micelle plus 1 counter ion. For example, calcium plus plus or copper plus plus in sodium dodecyl micelle. Suppose you will be having a system of micelle plus 2 counter ions. Okay. That means, in effect, if you have a system of micelle plus 1 counter ion, you will be having 2 counter ions. For example, copper and sodium, sodium ions will be always present in the system, because sodium will be coming out in the solution from the surfactant monomers. Okay. So, if you have a system called micelles plus 2 counter ions, for example, if you have Ca plus plus and copper plus plus present, so there will be 3 counter ions present at it effectively. So, in these 2 and the sodium by default. Okay. So, therefore, the isotherm the extent of binding ratio in this case is given as, binding ratio is defined as beta I is nothing but K I C I e to the power minus Z I psi over K B T. K B is the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature, 1 plus K of Na C of Na e to the power minus Z I Z Na basically. So, it will be 1 psi over K B T plus summation of K I C I e to the power minus Z I psi over K B T. Okay. And this summation is over 2 species 1 to 2. So, the one for the copper, another for the calcium, and you will be having a term called corresponding to sodium. So, this is in the same form of extended Langmuir isotherm as we have discussed in the last class. So, it can be extended for multi-component system. Now, you can experimentally evaluate the value of beta. Experiment evaluation of beta of solubilization constant beta. Beta I experimental can be obtained as 2 times C I minus C P I divided by C naught S minus C M C. Okay. What is this? The C I is nothing but the concentration of ith counter ion. For example, zinc plus plus, that is present in the solution. Initial concentration, C I is the initial concentration of cations. And what is CPI? CPI means out of the total concentration of the cation, some of them will be attached to the micelle and rest of them in the free state, and since they are easily permeable through they are easily permeable on across the membrane. So, the concentration of the free metal ions present in the bulk will be same as the concentration of the free metal ions in the permeate. So, if you measure the concentration of free metal ions in the permeate stream by using either an ion selective electrode or an atomic absorption spectrophotometer, you will be able to measure the amount of free counter ions present in the solution. CPI is the concentration of ith cation in the permeate. Okay. And C0S is the total concentration of the surfactant present in the feed solution minus CMC. CMC is the amount of concentration, it corresponds to critical micellar concentration. So, therefore, C0S minus CMC will represent the amount of the concentration of the micelle present in the system in terms of monomer. Okay. So, why this factor 2 will be coming? This factor 2 will be coming because of the valency of the counter ions. Okay. Now, so this is the experimental evaluation of beta I. So, you know the concentration of the counter ions in the feed, you know the concentration of surfactant in the feed, you know the value of CMC, and you can measure the concentration of the permeate for the counter ions of the metal ions. So, by measuring all these and knowing various quantities, you can measure the experimental values of extent of solubilization or the extent of binding ratio. Now, so therefore, if you remember in the definition of the binding ratio, there are some constants have to be determined. One is the KIs and psi I. Psi is unknown, they are unknown in the isotherm expression. So, in fact, this is a measurable quantity. You can use a zeta meter and can measure the value of zeta potential. So, what is left behind is the various values of binding constants K I. Now, these isotherm constants can be evaluated from experimental data. How you measure the you know how to measure the value of beta I, you know how to measure the calculate the values of beta I if you know the values of K I's. So, you minimize this sum, this can be optimized basically, and this optimization value will be beta I copper experimental minus beta I copper calculated, square of that plus summation beta I calcium experimental minus beta I calcium calculated, square of that. So, you start with a guess values of K I's, start with guess values of K I's, okay. Then you evaluate the value of beta I's, and then evaluate and compare with the experimental value and evaluate this this sum S over the number of experiments. This summation is over number of experiments. Okay. Then evaluate S and then use an optimizer, use an optimization technique to minimize the value of S. That means, you are doing the minimization of sum of squares of the errors, the error between the maximum value, the measured value and the experimental value and the calculated value. Use an optimization technique to minimize the value of S, and this optimizer will then find out it will result a new set of K I's. That is the job of the optimizer, you need not to worry about it. Once you get the new set of K I's, evaluate the value of S again and see whether S is less than a particular criteria. Check S is less than 10 to the power minus 3 or 10 to the power minus 2. So, there is some error limit. If S is below that limit, the iteration will stop and the corresponding values of K I will be the final net values of the K I's. Otherwise, it will be iterated once again, and the optimizer will again evaluate the various values of K I by steepest descent technique or some other technique by itself, and evaluate the value of S again and see whether it is minimum or not. Okay. So, that is how the various values of isotherm constants will be evaluated by comparing the experimental data with the measured with the calculated data. Now, for single component system, I have some typical data for single component system, that means for SDS and copper system. The values of isotherm constants are given as K of Cu is 70.87, that for K of Na is 0.06, the value of psi will be 11.15 millivolt. Okay. On the other hand, for SDS calcium system, value of calcium is 192, K of sodium is 0.06 and psi will be around 16 millivolt. Okay. Now, similar results can be obtained for SDS and copper calcium system and so on and so forth. Okay. So, that is how one can obtain the various values of isotherm constants. Okay. So, these will give you comprehensive comprehensive idea how to evaluate the counter ion binding, extent of counter ion binding on the micelles, and by using the isotherm one can evaluate the value of this counter ions of the metal ions present in the free form, that is number one, and using the gel layer theory one can evaluate the the amount of the quantification, the permeate flux you are going to get, which is nothing but the productivity of the system. Okay. Now, next we will be taking up some of the examples how to do the calculations of this system, micellar enhanced ultrafiltration system. So, the first example we will be talking about is removal of an organic using the micelles. Of organic pollutants using MAUF, and the surfactant we are talking about SDS, and the organic pollutant we are talking about phenol. Okay. The feed concentration of surfactant is given and this is around 10 kg per meter cube. The feed concentration of phenol is given this is 20 milligram per liter, and solubilization is the value. Okay, the solubilization isotherm is given as S is equal to Q times B 1 times C p divided by 1 plus B 1 times C p, and the unit of S is in milligram per milligram of the milligram of the solute per milligram of the micelle, and the various values of the isotherm constants are given. Q is equal to 0.01 milligram per milligram, B 1 is given as 9 into 10 to the power minus 2 liter per milligram, and gel layer concentration of SDS, the gel layer concentration is given 280 kg per meter cube, and the mass transfer coefficient of this particular system is given as 2 into 10 to the power minus 5 meter per second. The CMC of SDS is also given as 2.3 kg per meter cube. Okay. So, what you have to find out? You have to find out the permeate flux, how much is the permeate flux of the system, and permeate concentration of phenol. Okay. So, the first question is very straightforward. The flux is given as J equal to K ln C g by C naught S. If you just put the values of various parameters, 2 into 10 to the minus 5 ln 280 by 10, that will be directly give you the value of permeate flux. It will be 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 5 meter cube per meter square second. The extent of solubilization is also given in this problem. S is given as 2.34 into 10 to the power minus 3 milligram per milligram. Okay. So, this is also given. So, now once you get the value of permeate flux, then you are going to find out what is the permeate concentration. For that, you are going to put the value of S in the soluble in the isotherm expression. So, if you put the value of S in the isotherm expression, 2.34 into 10 to the power minus 3 is equal to 0.1 into 9 into 10 to the power minus 2 times C p divided by 1 plus 9 into 10 to the power minus 2 times C p, and you can find out, you can evaluate the value of C p as 0.266 milligram per liter. Okay. And the observed retention of the phenol can be easily found out. 1 minus Cp by C naught, and it turns out to be around 98.67%. Okay. So, that gives the quality of the permeate, and you can find out the permeate flux from the gel layer concentration model. Now, in the next problem, it is a counter ion binding on the micellar surface. That means, you must be having a metal ion in your system. So, I will be just discussing one more example in this topic. Example 2. In this case, copper is removed from an SDS micellar solution. You have the SDS micelle with the feed concentration 4 kg per meter cube. Okay. The copper concentration is 4 kg per meter cube. Copper present in the system is 4 kg per meter cube. Mass transfer coefficient is also given as 10 to the minus 5 meter per second. You have to find out the permeate flux. And observed retention of copper, and SDS concentration is also given in the feed, that is 10 kg per meter cube. Now, in this case, if we use the organic solute, we can use the solubilization isotherm. If we have the counter ions present in the system which has to be removed by using the micellar enhanced ultrafiltration, you have to use the localized isotherm, localized adsorption model. Okay. So, there are two things. One is the, if you have the solubilization of the organic pollutants, those will be solubilized in the hydrophobic core, you have to use the solubilization isotherm. If you have the counter ions that should be bound over the outer surface of the micelles, then you have to use the localized adsorption theory. Okay. The gel layer concentration as a function of copper concentration is given, it is given as 292 minus 3 of concentration of copper in the bulk, and CMC of SDS is also given as 2.3 kg per meter cube. Okay. Now, localized adsorption model is also, the isotherm form is given. Model and various binding constants are also given. Beta is KCU, CCU, exponential minus ZCU E psi over KBT divided by 1 plus KCU CCU. If please remember, in the expression within the exponential, there will be, it will be Z E psi by KBT. I think I did not mention the E earlier, but it should be included, because Z being the dimensionless number, the unit of KBT is nothing but the energy. Similarly, it should be multiplied by the E, that is the electronic charge, 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 coulomb, that multiplied with the voltage will be give you the energy. So, this value, the term within the exponential must be dimensionless. Okay. So, it should be multiplied by the E. Exponential minus ZCU E psi over KBT plus K of Na C of Na exponential minus Z of Na E psi over KBT. Okay. Various values of isotherm constants and the zeta potential etc. are known in this particular problem. KCU is 71, K of Na is 0.06, Z of copper is 2 plus 2, Z of Na is plus 1, psi is given as the zeta potential, that is 11 millivolt, and T is 300 Kelvin. Okay. The permeate flux you can easily obtain if you know the gel layer concentration. J is equal to the mass transfer coefficient is given, the feed concentration is given, of the surfactant are given, and gel layer concentration can be evaluated, Cg can be evaluated from the relation that is given 292 minus 3 into 4, that is around 280 kg per meter cube. Okay. Using this value of gel layer concentration, you can find out the value of the steady state permeate flux as 10 to the power minus 5 into ln 280 divided by 10. So, this turns out to be 3.33 into 10 to the power minus 5 meter cube per meter square second. So, that directly gives you the value of the permeate flux. Next, we will be finding out what is the value of beta. If you put the various values in the expression of beta, it turns out to be 71 into 4. I am just putting the values in order to you can find out the detailed steps of the calculations. Exponential minus 2 into 11 into 10 to the power minus 3, that is the psi, into 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19, that is the electronic charge, divided by 1.38 into 10 to the power minus 23, that is the Boltzmann constant, into 300, that is the temperature in Kelvin, 27 degrees centigrade. So, it will be around 300 Kelvin. Okay. This divided by 1 plus 71 into 4 exponential minus 2 into 11 into 10 to the minus 3 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 divided by 1.38 into 10 to the power minus 23 into 300. This corresponds to copper. The next one will be corresponding to sodium. So, 0.06 into 20 into exponential minus 1 into 11 into 10 to the minus 3. This 20 comes from the concentration of the surfactant, which means the same amount of sodium ions will be generated, right. So, 1 into 11 into 10 to the minus 3 into 1.6 into 10 to the minus 19 divided by 1.38 into 10 to the minus 23 times 300. So, all this calculation will be leading to a value 0.985. Okay. Now, if you calculate the value of beta from the experimental conditions, so you will be getting beta is equal to 2 into C01 minus Cp1 divided by C0s minus CMC of the SDS solution. You know the CMC of the SDS solution, you know the feed concentration of surfactants, you know the feed concentration of solute, and you know the so you do not know the value of concentration of the of the counter ions in the permeate, but you have already found out the value of beta from this theory, that is 0.985. Okay. So, use the value of 0.985 here, and on the right hand side you will be having the same thing, C01 minus Cp1 C0s minus CMC. So, it will be, you just put the values, only one unknown is there, that is Cp1. So, 4 minus Cp1 divided by 10 minus 2.3. So, this leads you to the value of Cp1 as 0.21 kg per meter cube, or if you would like to calculate the observed retention, this turns out to be 94.75%. So, that is the answer. So, what we have seen that if you know the experimental concentrations, and if you know the isotherm values constants, using the isotherm or the localized adsorption model, you will be in a position to calculate the permeate quality, what is the permeate concentration of the copper and what is the observed retention. Okay. So, that will finish the micellar enhanced ultrafiltration part of our course, and let us summarize whatever we have done. So, we have looked into the fundamental principles of working principles of micellar enhanced ultrafiltrations. We have defined the critical micellar concentrations, and we have identified the region where the organic solutes will be adsorbed or solubilized, or in the region where the ionic solutes of the counter ions in nature of the opposite polarity will be adsorbed. the counter ions will be adsorbed on the outer surface of the micelles, the ionic pollutants, and the organic pollutants will be solubilized within the hydrophobic core of the micelles. And these solubilizations and the transfer of the counter ions of the solutes over the micelles are almost instantaneous in nature. Now, assuming the gel layer concentration model, the permeate flux can be predicted using the gel layer concentration model, assuming that the surfactants will be, the micelles will be forming a gel type layer of cake type of layer over the membrane surface, and the counter ions, the quality of the permeate or the amount of counter ions that is present on the permeate can be obtained or can be quantified using the adsorption model, whether it will be an adsorption for the solubilization isotherm using the isotherms of solubilization isotherms of the organic, or the localized adsorption model of the for the counter ions. Using these isotherm models, one can easily calculate or predict the concentration of the solutes in the permeate stream. Okay. So, in the next class we will move forward and we will be looking into the principles of liquid membranes. Thank you.